Online game, I possess a monster merging simulator. Chapter 231, Players Stockpile. Brothers who want to go to the ruins of the war to make a fortune, let's form a team. It's safe and reliable. Heading to the ruins of the war. Join the party for 10 silver coins. We will definitely arrive safely. Let's go. Those who didn't get in, don't worry. There's still a spot. Brothers, let's go to the ruins of the war to make a fortune. We'll earn $10,000 a month. Just use our right hands. It only costs 5 silver coins to be escorted by an expert to the expeditionary army camp. After returning to Iron Skull City, he heard the shouts of the players everywhere. In fact, the map of the ruins of the war had always been very popular among the players. However, the activities of the Titan Forest were too popular, causing the popularity of this map to be much lower. However, as the players neared level 30, and with the end of the Titan Forest event, there was another wave of excitement in the ruins of the war. As long as a player had some strength, they would basically choose to fight in the ruins of the war. After all, the drop rate of monsters there was higher and they could earn reputation points. Therefore, more players saw the benefits. For example, leading a team to the ruins of the war gave many guides opportunities to earn a lot of money. They could also lead the team to kill monsters in the ruins of the war and obtain a good income. However, the most popular thing now was to transport resources. Because there was no place to replenish in the ruins of the war, the players had to transport their supplies to the ruins themselves. In addition, there were no merchant NPCs like equipment and materials recycling in that area. Coupled with the fact that the map was far away, some merchant players could receive many things at low prices here. Even some low-level players obtained additional income because of the market. They ran back and forth to collect the transportation fees. Lorne shook his head and smiled. The operations of these merchants would soon suffer a huge blow. This was because his cold desolate dragon city would soon be established. At that time, with the advantage of the teleportation array, he would completely monopolize all the markets in the ruins of the war. Here, some might think that the Lake of Death was too far away from the expeditionary army camp. The players would not be willing to go to his city. That notion was wrong. This was because the teleportation circle of the cold desolate dragon city was similar to the teleportation circle of the Gnome Mineral Company. It could directly teleport the target to the region of the teleportation circle. After choosing to teleport, one could appear in the wilderness forest or in the main city. Unlike the teleportation circle in Iron Skull City, when one crushed the teleportation scroll, they would immediately return to the city and not anywhere outside the city. Although it was not a direct teleportation to the Doomsday Forest, through the teleportation of the cold desolate dragon city, the players could save 2/3 of the map journey. Moreover, the area near the Lake of Death was a level 40 monster zone. In another week, after the players reached level 30, that place would become the core of the player's development. As he pondered, his friend list lit up. It was a message from Twinkle Rose. "Brother Tyrant, sob, I've urgent needs. Can you lend me 200,000 gold coins?" Twinkle Rose asked pitifully. 200,000? Seeing this number, Lorne could not help but be stunned. This was not a small number. In terms of alliance dollars, it was worth 600 million. Why do you want so much money? Lorne could not help but ask. To stockpile, of course. Twinkle Rose said matter-of-factly, most of the players are now above level 25. The ruins of the war with level 30 monsters is the hottest map now. It just so happens that the sisters in the Titan Forest have returned to the main city. I plan to hoard a large amount of goods for them to bring over. I just paid for the antidote today, and the gold coins can't be transferred immediately, so I want to ask you to help me. To be honest, it's up to you to make a killing this time. I know that you made a lot of gold coins in the Titan Forest. I'll borrow 200,000 and return it to you within 2 days. I beg you, good brother. The people of the Domination Guild have already accumulated more than 1 million gold coins worth of goods and are about to set off. I have to reach before them, or else I won't even be able to drink soup. In order to obtain the loan, Twinkle Rose sent a series of messages and even began to act cute. She thought that as long as she brought the goods to the Expeditionary Army camp, she would receive a huge reward. But clearly, she had miscalculated this time. Big busted sister, I'd advise you not to stock up. There's a chance you won't be able to sell anything. Lorne reminded her out of kindness. Why? Brother Tyrant, make yourself clear. I've been confused by you. Why will the goods be unsold? The supplies in the ruins of the war are simply lacking. There's no need to worry about sales. Moreover, all the resources there are 3 to 4 times the price of Iron Skull City. If we join them now, we will clearly make a killing. Twinkle Rose did not understand his reminder. After all, her transport team had already made a lot of money. Coupled with the fact that the situation in the ruins of the war was very stable, it was impossible for them to lose money. You want to know? If you want to know, send me a few sexy photos. The corners of Lorne's mouth curled up as he hinted crazily. If you want to see me, go online and check. The most beautiful woman there is me. Twinkle Rose smiled and raised her head proudly. She was not lying. After all, in reality, her appearance was definitely shocking. When others entered the game Divine Realm, they would choose to elevate their appearance, but she had lowered it instead. But even so, she was still one of the top beauties in Divine Realm. Unfortunately, Lorne did not know any of this. I don't want stuff that people have seen. Why don't you post something private and I'll tell you a secret that can shock the entire world? Tisk, little brother, you want my private photos? Aren't you afraid of overindulgence? I'm strong and can withstand it. Forget it. If you really die, my heart will ache. The two chatted. In the end, Lorne gave her a small piece of information, the word Guild Establishment Token. Upon hearing this notification, Twinkle Rose was horrified. This was because as long as Tyrant's Guild territory was built, they would be able to connect to the main city. With the help of the teleportation circle, those transporting herbs would completely lose the market. At that time, at least half of the purchase fees of hundreds of thousands of gold coins and the high transportation fees would be lost. This was too terrifying. Chapter 232, The Direction of the Shop's Development. After ending the conversation with Twinkle Rose, Lorne first arrived at the Dragon 1 shop. As soon as he entered the shop, the manager, Rona, greeted him. Master, long time no see. Yes, long time no see, Rona. Lorne nodded. How's the situation at the shop recently? Originally, development was relatively slow, but with the guild establishment token provided by Master, the sales of the shop obtained an earth-shattering increase. In addition, the antidote treaty signed with the Alchemist Association also brought huge benefits to the shop. Rona took out the shop's bill and said, Master, look. This is the income of the shop in the past few days. The guild establishment token has brought a terrifying increase in sales for the shop, and the antidote has brought a high popularity to the shop. Because there are no antidotes for sale in the surrounding shops, most of the adventurers who revived and left nearby will choose to come to our shops to buy potions. Because of this, the income of the other businesses in the shop is also very impressive. Listening to Rona's report, Lorne also carefully checked the shop's accounts and found that the recent income had indeed increased greatly. A week ago, the income of Dragon 1 shop was about 700 gold coins. A week later, the income of Dragon 1 shop soared to 2,100 gold coins. This income was the income after excluding the guild establishment token. It was the benefits of the shop itself. The profit per day was 3 times that of before. Is there a problem? Lorne asked. Yes. Rona nodded. 7 days ago, the shop auctioned the first guild establishment token, which led to the increase in customer flow and even a phenomenon of multiplying. This is the most important value performance for a shop. However, 4 days ago, the customer flow of Dragon 1 stopped increasing, and its performance stagnated at the current stage. The main reason for this problem is that the scope of the shop is limited. The sales space of Dragon 1 shop is only more than 100 square meters. Even if the adventurers don't stay for long, we can't support such a huge customer flow. Lorne nodded. He also knew that the benefits that a shop could earn were limited. Moreover, the area of Dragon 1 was so small. To be able to earn 2,100 gold coins was already the limit. What do you think? Master, I think there are 2 ways to make the shop earn more. Rona extended 2 fingers and said, firstly, we need to increase the quality of the goods. We will no longer provide low-profit goods like the HP potion. We will save all the counters on the first floor and specially sell higher-priced equipment and other special items. At the same time, it can also increase sales. We will use the limited space of the shop to obtain the greatest benefits. Secondly, we can expand the area of our shops. Larger shops can have more counters, deal with more transactions, and accommodate more customers. It had to be said that a high-level NPC like Rona had a very strong business mind. She could consider many things and even make many judgments. Lorne agreed with her. However, it might be difficult to expand the shop. All the businesses in Iron Skull City belonged to Iron Skull City itself. Even these shops owned by the Alchemist Association were indicators distributed by Iron Skull City. It might not be too difficult to obtain the management rights of a shop, but to have 2 shops at the same time and even want to merge them, this was too testing the player's background. If he did not contribute enough to Iron Skull City, it would be an extremely difficult goal. Lorne thought for a moment, then looked at Rona. Which do you think is more suitable for us? The second plan is more suitable for future development, but to realize it, we need to pay a greater price. Moreover, this price might be something that Master cannot afford for the time being. Compared to the second plan, I'm more confident in the first plan. I'm confident in increasing the quality of the goods and creating the Dragon 1 brand. It might be more suitable for the current situation. After all, we fully manage Dragon 1. I believe that as long as we operate this well, we can bring in enough profits. Rona said. Her consideration was not unreasonable. The current adventurers could not come into contact with the highest levels of Iron Skull City. Even Lorne had not seen the city lord of Iron Skull City, let alone others. Therefore, it was very difficult to create private benefits under the strict rules of Iron Skull City. Lorne did not plan to develop in Iron Skull City. Now that he had the cold desolate Dragon City, as long as he could properly build it, he could reach the same level of status as the city lord of Iron Skull City in the future. Let's do as you think. Even if we can buy more shops, we have to go on the high-end route. Only then can we stabilize our business position. In addition, go and manage your relationship with other trading companies. In the future, we will have our own territory. At that time, they will become a bridge between us and Iron Skull City, Lorne said. Yes, I'll arrange it immediately. Hearing Lorne's plan, Rona was very excited. After discussing with him, she immediately took action. Lorne was also about to leave the shop to find President Doge. However, just as he walked out of the shop and arrived at the street, he suddenly saw a group of players in luxurious equipment walking out of the city in a hurry. Wasn't this Crossfire? Strange, why was the deputy guild leader of the World Destruction Guild following a level 20 player? Could it be a powerful figure from the World Destruction Guild? Looking at the other party's position, that guy called World Destruction Lightning should be a very important character. Behind him, there was a player called Great Greedy Wolf. He seemed to be the one who led the army to surround the valley. Very good. Since I've encountered you, I'll use you to test my strength. Back in the river valley, Lorne had wanted to teach these guys a lesson. It just so happened that he had obtained the ghost deity necklace. This divine equipment was said to not be detectable by anyone. If that was the case, killing a few people in Iron Skull City should not be a problem. With that in mind, the corners of Lorne's mouth curled up, and he vanished on the spot. The ghost deity's descent skill allowed Lorne to walk in the darkness and gave him powerful damage output and movement speed. Even if he was a summoner and could not rely on pets, in this state, he could use his attributes to directly kill these players. Chapter 233, Boss. Please don't suicide. How's the preparation of the potions going? After more than a month, the World Destruction Guild finally got on track and formed a good guild model. The guild leader, Speck, had only logged into the game recently and directly took over the management of the World Destruction Guild. Because of his merchant bloodline, he placed all his attention on the ruins of the war. To him, the ruins of the war was a huge market with a good future. Therefore, he gathered a large amount of funds and planned to monopolize the potion market in the ruins of the war by controlling the price. Don't worry, boss. We've already prepared more than 1 million gold coins. In addition, we've also borrowed more than 300,000 gold coins from the NPCs. This money is all used to buy the HP and MP potions. We're already organizing people to come back and carry it. On the way, Crossfire reported the latest situation to Speck. Speck nodded, speed up the transportation time. We have to input the potions into the ruins of the war before the other guilds. Even if we have to lower the price, we have to seize enough market share. Yes, boss. A group of people followed behind Speck, preparing to go to the warehouse where the potions were stored. But as they hurried along, a short staff hidden in the darkness struck Speck in the face. Almost in the next second, he died. Crossfire, who was behind him, saw everything. He saw Speck suddenly collapse backward, his body turning into white fragments. Damn, what's going on? The players from the World Destruction Guild looked at the scene in shock, not understanding what had happened. At the resurrection point dozens of meters away, Speck revived. He was stunned and did not know what had happened to him. He felt something smash into his face, then he lost consciousness and died. What was even more surprising was that there was no information regarding the battle on his combat panel, which meant that he had suddenly died. This was ridiculous. Boss, why did you suddenly die? Who killed you? At this moment, Crossfire and the others ran over. They had not seen the assassin just now, so they asked Speck in surprise. However, Speck was also stunned and had no idea what was happening. Before he could explain, he felt dizzy again. His head was hit by an unknown object, causing his soul to almost ascend to heaven. Damn, what the heck is this? Because he was standing on the resurrection array, Speck, who had just fallen, stood up again. He cursed angrily. There's a damage number in the air. Damn, why is it more than 50,000? Boss, did you kill yourself? The surrounding players cried out. In the Divine Realm, players could commit suicide. This was a very special mechanism that was designed to prevent players from being trapped in a special map and unable to escape. Typically, only this action would cause the player to suddenly suffer huge damage without any combat notification. F***CKU. Speck, who was misunderstood by his lackeys, was furious, but before he could finish, his head really exploded. Another extremely savage unknown attack struck his head, and a scarlet and hideous number floated in the air. -50,450, critical. Although it was a critical hit, the damage value of 50,000 points was still too ridiculous, so the players all agreed that this was the result of Speck's suicide. Boss, don't kill yourself. Even if you're unhappy, you don't have to torture yourself like this. That's right. Boss, stop. Sigh, I didn't expect sister-in-law's matter to deal such a huge blow to Boss. However, there's no need for that. Boss has so many women. It's normal for one or two to be indecent. What's normal about that? If it were you, you would also break down. You didn't know about this, but that woman knew that she couldn't be boss's wife, so she went to be the boss's stepmother. Several guild players beside him spoke, but someone accidentally revealed a shocking secret, causing the surrounding players to stare with their eyes wide open. Although it was only one sentence, the storyline was too exciting. If I can't be your wife, I'll be your mother. This train of thought was too intense. Even movies would not have such a storyline. You have to let go of everything, boss. Really, I beg of you, don't kill yourself again. Seeing Speck's tragic actions, Crossfire was extremely heartbroken. In just a few seconds, his boss, Speck, had actually committed suicide 5 times. He had already leveled up nearly a month later than others. If he died 5 more times, he would fall below level 10. At that time, he would not be able to enter even the main city, and the guild would also be greatly affected. Crossfire, listen to me, damn, I didn't kill myself. Speck, who had revived, cursed, but as soon as he finished speaking, he was struck to death again. The lackeys beside him were at a loss, but at this moment, a critical hit number appeared above Crossfire's head. The terrifying 50,000 damage directly shattered his soul. Minus 50,450, critical. Minus 50,000, critical. Minus 8,575. Minus 8,499. Minus 50,670, critical. The players beside were not surprised. They all suffered an inexplicable blow. High damage values popped up on their heads one after another, and then they turned into souls that were poured into the resurrection array. When they stood up again, they would suffer the same treatment. It seemed that there was a strange bug that kept affecting them. As long as they revived, they would definitely die. Damn, what's wrong with them? Are the higher UPS of the World Destruction Guild performing mass suicide? If my girl were to become my stepmother, I would not be able to withstand such a blow. I completely understand his actions. My God, look at the number in the sky. It's more than 50,000. It's ridiculous. Indeed, the system is the true God. If I have such an ability, I will definitely treat these tyrannical fellows well. Why do I feel like they've encountered a bug? The surrounding players were attracted by the scene before them. They gathered and began to discuss. Many people even recorded this scene and posted it on the forum, asking other players to analyze it. The entire video only lasted for 15 seconds. This was because after 15 seconds, Crossfire, Great Greedy Wolf, and the others could not hold on anymore and went offline. As for their guild leader, World Destruction Lightning, because his level had decreased to below 10, he was sent back to the beginner village. Only then did this strange phenomenon stop. However, this matter stirred up a storm on the forum and attracted the attention of all the players in the world. Chapter 234, Furious Speck. In reality, at the headquarters of the World Destruction Guild, Speck and a few higher UPS of the guild gathered together because of what had happened in the game. In just a few seconds, I dropped 7 levels. I dropped 5 levels. I was originally in the top 10,000, but now, I've completely fallen behind. I also dropped 6 levels. In the end, we still don't know the specific situation. Is this really a bug? I think there might be a problem in the game. That's right. Otherwise, there would be no combat information. The group of people from the World Destruction Guild discussed. Although they had many guesses, they could not confirm the true reason. This was because there was only one message on their game interface. You have received 50,770 damage. Your character has died. You have received 50,450 damage. Your character has died. You have received. You have received. Other than the damage numbers, they could not find any useful information. Moreover, because the situation was too special when they were killed and the process was too short, they could not understand what they had suffered. Speck also sat on the sofa with a dark expression. He clearly felt that he had received special treatment. Someone had definitely attacked him just now, because his face felt the pain of being attacked, and suicide did not have any pain, so the two were definitely very different. At this moment, someone suddenly shouted, "I know who attacked us. Boss, quickly open the equipment ranking." Hearing this, the others checked. Equipment leaderboard. First place, Angel's Wings, Mythical, Owner, Tyrant. Second place, Ghost Deity Necklace, Mythical, Owner. Third place, Death Angel's War Boots, Demigod. After Lorne obtained the new equipment, the equipment ranking also changed. In fact, there were already relevant topics on the forum, but everyone in the World Destruction Guild was busy purchasing potions, so they did not pay attention to this matter. When they saw this list, their eyes immediately turned red. Although they did not know the other party's identity, they were certain that it was this guy with the ghost deity necklace who had attacked them. Other than that, there was no other possibility. It must be that scoundrel Tyrant again. Damn, this kid has already obtained a second mythical equipment. They were furious. But then Crossfire said, "I think he might not be Tyrant." Not Tyrant? Hearing this, everyone looked over. Crossfire explained, "Look at Tyrant's previous behavior. He has never hidden. I have not seen him hide the Angel's Wings equipment, so I think he might not be Tyrant." Makes sense. Everyone nodded. According to their understanding of Tyrant, they realized that he did not like to hide. Even if it was a mythical equipment, it would definitely not make him change his behavior. It was probably because a player who had been bullied by the World Destruction Guild had suddenly obtained a special opportunity, causing his strength to increase greatly, so he chose to turn invisible to take revenge. "Boss, I think this might be a good opportunity for us," Crossfire said. "Chance? What chance?" "A chance to resist Tyrant." Crossfire said, "If we can recruit this player with a divine equipment into the guild, together with the large army of more than 100,000 players, we can turn the possibility of hunting Tyrant into reality." "Impossible. That guy killed several of our higher UPS. If we don't skin him alive, how can our World Destruction Guild survive in the Divine Realm in the future?" "That's right. Since this player attacked us, he must be prepared to be our enemy. How can he join us? This player's output exceeds 50,000. With his powerful invisibility, even if Tyrant fought him, he would die. Such a powerful player will basically not accept anyone's invitation." A group of executives objected. They, the higher UPS of the financial group, were used to being high and mighty. Every time they were provoked, they had to take revenge. Even if they had to pay the price, they could not let the other party IFF, especially this time. The other party's actions had completely enraged them. If not for the fact that they could not find the other party's location, they would have definitely killed that detestable guy with their own hands in real life. But even so, Crossfire persisted in his thoughts. Not everyone is like Tyrant who is not tempted by money. Solo players like him are mostly ordinary working class people. This kind of person has a bottom line. If he doesn't agree, it only means that we didn't offer him enough money. I think that with the current influence of the Divine Realm, if we want to seize the market share, we have to rope in powerful players like him. Even if we have to pay $1 billion, or even $2 billion, it's completely worth it. After all, even a map like the Ruins of the War has a market of more than $10 billion. If it were the entire Iron Skull City or even the Empire Alliance, it would be a huge market of tens of billions. If we can rely on their strength to snatch 1% of the market share, the final benefits will far exceed the current cost. Crossfire analyzed seriously. Ever since Tyrant's incident had affected the company's benefits, Crossfire had begun to work harder and even reflected on many things. Today, he explained what he had learned. After he finished, no one objected. The higher UPS of the guilds were also secretly communicating, believing that his analysis was reasonable. Speck was also hesitating. But at that moment, on the holographic screen in the conference room, a shout sounded throughout the city. Anonymous player, listen up, fellows from the World Destruction Guild. You'd better control yourselves in the future, or else I'll kill you 10 times. Seeing this message, Speck exploded. Damn it! If the tiger did not show its might, this fellow would really think that it was a weak cat. Investigate. No matter if it was in reality or in the game, as long as they found traces of this guy, they would surround him with all their might. I want to see him die. Chapter 235, Ghost Deity? Gosh! Who is this godly player? No wonder the people from the World Destruction Guild died one after another. Someone attacked them. Could it be Tyrant? I don't think so. God Tyrant never hides his name when killing people. He's probably a new God tier player. My attack damage is only 1000. This Ghost Deity can actually deal 50,000 damage. How ridiculous! Who do you think is stronger between Ghost Deity and Tyrant? I think Ghost Deity is stronger in a solo battle. In a group battle, God Tyrant is stronger. After all of his pets are apocalyptic existences. Ghost Deity is awesome. He killed without leaving a trace. When they heard the shout, the entire world entered a combat discussion. Everyone wondered if Tyrant or the new Ghost Deity was stronger. At the same time, in the underground base of the Netherworld Guild, the guild leader, Nether River, was doing a power analysis with the high-level players of the guild. Almost all the famous experts in the world were discussed by them. Especially players like Tyrant who had powerful personal strength. However, as everyone was discussing, new information suddenly came. According to his lackey, a player called Ghost Deity had killed all the higher UPS of the World Destruction Guild several times and publicly warned them. They quickly opened the forum to check the relevant information. The next moment, rows of video posts appeared. King of Assassins. Ghost Deity. Anonymous player with the title Ghost Deity, slays enemies without them noticing. Ghost Deity strikes. The higher UPS of the World Destruction Guild are wiped out. Crazy damage. The single damage of Ghost Deity is as high as 51,780 points. Absolute invisibility plus super damage equals unbeatable legend. New strongest player, Ghost Deity. At this moment, almost all the posts were about Ghost Deity. King of Assassins. A hint of disdain flashed in Nether River's eyes. Using the advantage of equipment to hunt, this kind of person could also be considered the strongest assassin? If this equipment does not give you the effect of invincibility, then when you encounter me, I will definitely let you die under my sharp blade. The title of King of Assassins only belongs to me. The corners of Nether River's mouth curled up. In this world, no one knew hunting better than him, and no one knew assassins better than him. As for the advantage brought about by equipment, it would eventually be outdated. Only people who truly mastered super skills were qualified to reach the top of the world. In Divine Realm, the growth of the players could not be stopped. When the time came, the equipment would not give the players the strength to win. At that time, skill would become the only proof to measure the player's strength. While he was thinking, Nether River opened a live video to see what level the other party was at. When the video was opened, he realized that the entire video only lasted for 15 seconds. However, in these short 15 seconds, the players of the World Destruction Guild died one after another. Moreover, the players here were all the higher UPS of the World Destruction Guild. Their equipment and strength were extraordinary. However, in such an environment, the World Destruction Lightning, Crossfire, Great Greedy Wolf, Unparalleled World Destruction, and the others were killed 5 to 7 times in 15 seconds. The World Destruction Lightning was even killed 10 times and sent back to the beginner village. As for damage, a scarlet 50,000 critical hits value floated on the screen. Not only that, but in the entire battle, no one saw the shadow of this ghost deity. He was ethereal like the rules of the system. He did not have a body, but he had the ability to judge all the players. 15 seconds, 59 kills. Damage exceeds 50,000. Absolute invisibility. Is this a player? Is he a F***ing cheater? Nether River almost spat out blood. He had been so confident just now, but at this moment, he was completely crushed. How could he deal with such a player who did not appear when attacking? In the square of Iron Skull City, Lorne did not know how much his actions had affected the entire world. His gaze was almost focused on the ghost deity necklace. The effect of this equipment was indeed powerful. When he entered the ghost deity's descent state, his overall strength had received a terrifying increase, especially the critical damage. It directly increased by 300%. Coupled with the 100% increase in the angel's wings and the 100% increase in the title of Dragon Slayer, Lorne's critical damage reached a terrifying 700%, which was 7 times the damage. In addition, the ghost deity state also provided a 100% increase in damage. This effect and critical strike could be used at the same time, so the final damage would be 14 times. Finally, there was the level suppression effect. When dealing with level 20 players like the World Destruction Lightning, it would deal an additional 40% damage. The combined effect finally made Lorne deal more than 50,000 points of damage. To be honest, when he saw this damage value, Lorne was also very shocked. After all, he had always relied on his pets to fight in the past, and he had not used the skill Angel's Descent to deal damage, so he did not have a clear understanding of his damage output. Only today did he realize that he was already so powerful. Even without Aisha, with his own strength, Lorne was confident in killing a silver boss of the same level. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with Iron Skull City. Lorne stood in the square for a while and finally confirmed that the effect of the ghost deity necklace could avoid detection in Iron Skull City. Even if he killed someone in Iron Skull City, he would not be punished. In this case, the Iron Skull City that was said to be absolutely safe had become nothing but a decoration in front of him. In the future, if there were any enemies that he wanted to teach a lesson to, he could kill them until they died. Just the thought of it was awesome. Then, Lorne left the square. He rushed all the way to the Alchemist Association and saw President Doge here. "Mr. Tyrant, you're finally here." Seeing that Lorne had arrived, Doge was very happy. He handed the book Encyclopedia of Rare Herbs on the bookshelf to Lorne and said, "Take a look and see if this editing is in line with your idea." "Yes, I think it's good." Lorne casually checked and asked, "How do you plan to distribute this book?" "I have already promoted a few books to the outside world. The goal is to attract all the alchemist organizations in the world and make them contact us. Only then can we ensure that the copyright of the books is protected. Up until now, we have already received a letter from 157 alchemist organizations and have said that they will send people to Iron Skull City to discuss the sale of this Encyclopedia of Rare Herbs in detail." Chapter 236, Recruiting Doge. So many. Hearing Doge's report, Lorne was also surprised. He checked the list that Doge handed over, and it surprisingly stated all the alchemist organizations that wanted to reach an agreement with them. A total of 157 forces, including humans, gnomes, elves, orcs, and various other races, sent sincere invitation letters. Most importantly, there were many authoritative organizations in these alchemist organizations. Their recognition would allow Lorne's books to have a higher reputation in the world. In addition, it could also lead to the implementation of the Tyrant Award. "Mr. Tyrant, these are only a portion," Doge said. "According to my estimation, the total number of alchemist organizations in the various cities of the Human Empire Alliance, the Elven Kingdom, and the Gnome Kingdom should exceed 300. There are only 157 of them now, because I have sent out the incomplete version of the Encyclopedia of Rare Herbs. I included about 70% of the herbs. These are already more complete than the best pharmacopoeia in the empire. In addition, I have kept 30% of the rare herbs and edited a portion of their characteristics. The remaining characteristics of the herbs will be continuously updated in the future versions. This way, we can maintain the popularity of the pharmacopoeia and maintain a cooperative relationship with all the alchemist organizations in the world. Doge explained his plan, which impressed Lorne. His thoughts were consistent with Lorne's, even more thorough in fact. This was because Lorne had only recently thought of this problem, and Doge had considered all aspects when he published the book. It had to be said that this Alchemist Association's president indeed had a powerful business mind. Yes. Lorne nodded, then asked, "How do you plan to cooperate with them?" "Originally, I wanted to place the books in their various libraries and let them rent them for a price to read. This way, all the alchemists who read this book have to pay a certain amount of reading fees. Although the reading fees will not be very high, under such a huge number, it can still bring us high benefits. However, after careful consideration, I discovered another problem. If we release it like this, it's very likely that someone will secretly record the contents of the pharmacopoeia and issue a pirated copy, damaging our benefits. Therefore, I've recently been considering selling it by directly buying it off. Although this will also be harmful by the pirated version, this method can maximize our benefits." With that, Doge looked at Lorne again and asked, "Mr. Tyrant, what do you think we should do with this? How should he deal with it?" Lorne thought for a moment and said, "I think we can use an online reading method. The recording crystal seems to have this function." The recording crystal does have this ability, but it doesn't seem to be able to solve the problem of piracy. Doge frowned. He had long prepared the crystal version of the book, but that would not stop the piracy. In fact, the function of the crystal would make the piracy even more rampant. "Don't worry, Doge," Lorne said, "I saw a special device created based on recording crystal in the Gnome Mineral Company's shop. It can store information and provide a special account. Only those who log in can check the information inside. This device can solve the drawback of duplicating the records and provide an account so that we can tabulate everyone's reading records and earnings from them. Regarding the piracy, my idea is to reduce the reading fees. To the alchemists, a low cost for reading the book will not deter them. In addition, we can all cooperate with the Gnome Mineral Company to let them record all the buyers of this reading equipment. As long as a pirated version appears, we can directly lock onto the equipment and deal with it. As for paper books, I don't think the piracy of this method will have much of an effect on us, because we can directly update the content on the mainframe of the equipment. This does not require much investment, but paper piracy needs to be printed and produced. The cost is very high, and it cannot bring much benefits. It might even cause a loss because no customer is willing to spend too much money to buy it." Hearing this, Doge was enlightened. With his business sense, how could he not understand the meaning? This method of transferring content through energy would definitely replace the method of transmitting information through matter. Moreover, because the equipment could only be produced by the Gnome Mineral Company, it could completely prevent piracy at the source. As a result, the problem of piracy was resolved. In addition, the accounting problem was also resolved. There would not be any cooperation partners secretly deducting the funds. Although Mr. Tyrant is young, you have extraordinary wisdom and knowledge. As the Alchemist Association's guild leader, I can only blush with shame." Doge shook his head and smiled, feeling very ashamed of his thoughts during this period of time. "Since you think so highly of me, do you want to consider working for me?" Lorne smiled and made an offer. The sudden invitation stunned Doge, and then he smiled and said, "Don't I work for Mr. Tyrant already? Look at these documents. I've been dealing with them for days. What I mean is, genuine cooperation." Lorne walked to his desk, picked up a book, and faced Doge. This time, Doge was stunned. This was because the emblem of Iron Skull City was printed on the book. What he meant was to leave Iron Skull City and join his faction. Leave Iron Skull City? Doge hesitated. He was now the Alchemist Association's guild leader in Iron Skull City. Although he did not sign any ridiculous agreement with the main city, he had also spent decades of effort to reach this position step by step from an apprentice. It was still somewhat too difficult for him to directly give up all of this. However, the person who invited him was not ordinary. To have such knowledge at such a young age, his identity and potential could not be guessed with age. Thinking of this, Doge was even more conflicted. He did not want to refuse the invitation, because he had obtained wisdom from the other party's knowledge. He even vaguely felt that the other party might be the one who could change his fate again. Thinking of this, Doge finally nodded. He had chosen to follow Lorne, but this was actually inevitable, because just the profits and future brought by the Encyclopedia of Rare Herbs alone far exceeded his position as the nominal Alchemist Association's guild leader. Furthermore, he still had the drive and passion to work hard for greater success. Chapter 237, Large Weapon Crystal Cannon. The rest of the day passed in the forest near Iron Skull City. He was still short of 10 million experience points to level up Aisha. Unfortunately, the monsters around were relatively low in level, and he did not find enough monster maps, causing him to only obtain 2 million experience points per day. The next day, Lorne put away his short staff and used the magic circle of Iron Skull City to return to the Gnome Mineral Company. Mr. Tyrant, the purification crystal you need has been refined. Tully led Lorne to a warehouse. There was an altar built with special ores. On the rocks were countless runes that formed a special magic circle. All the energy was gathered in the center. Above the center point, a huge dragon crystal floated. It emitted a dazzling light, like a high-powered light bulb. This is the purification crystal you want. Tully explained, this huge energy magic circle will transmit the purification power to the gem at the top. Then, the gem will radiate light and cleanse the surroundings. An ordinary purification magic circle can be refined with only an ordinary crystal. However, the range you want to cover is too large, so you have to use the dragon crystal as the main body to withstand the energy. Only then can you purify the huge range of 100,000 hectares. So big. Lorne did not expect that the so-called purification crystal was not only a crystal, but the magic circle at the bottom. Only by combining the two could the effect of regional purification be displayed. Mr. Tyrant, you can install this purification crystal in the center of the city. When you drive it with all your might, the dragon crystal will fly into the sky like a round moon, illuminating the surrounding darkness. Its light is very gentle and beautiful. It might be a large landmark in the city. Tully smiled and introduced it to Lorne. It could be seen that he was also proud of his results. After all, in the history of the Gnome Mineral Company, there had been few cases of using the dragon crystal to refine the purification crystal. This was an extremely great honor for him. Yes, that's my plan. Lorne stepped forward and used the dragon's treasure vault to collect the huge purification crystals. Then, he looked at Tully and said, "We're about to leave. Are you ready?" "Everything's ready." Tully said, "There are a total of 1,000 technicians, 5,000 construction workers, and 4,000 manufacturing workers who followed me this time. There are exactly 10,000 people. I wonder if we can arrange for so many people to stay in Mr. Tyrant's territory." "Of course, it's not a problem. The gnomes who have joined the territory will receive the best treatment and will give you the most dreamlike research area and projects. I promise you in the name of the city lord." Lorne gave the other party a confident answer. In his eyes, the technology of the gnomes could benefit the people. Even if it could not extend into their lives, they could still move towards the armed main city. Therefore, Lorne would give them the best treatment. This was definitely not empty talk. Tully was grateful for this answer, and he led Lorne to the landing site. The gnome airship was ready, Due to the large number of people, many airships were chosen to transport it this time. However, because the airship was specially transported this time, its armed strength was relatively poor, so there were still a few offensive airships escorting it. Lorne was interested in the weapons on the offensive airships. On those offensive airships, there were several cannons and a large crystal tower. What was their specific use? That's a crystal cannon. Under normal circumstances, such large crystal cannons are installed on the city wall. Because the magic circle engraved is very large, it's difficult to move around. However, in order to let the airship equip a cannon, our gnomes have specially studied the miniature crystal cannon. This magic cannon can be installed in the small space of the airship and use the high mobility of the airship to suddenly attack the target. But of course, while undergoing special optimization, some performance will naturally be sacrificed, such as power and energy conversion efficiency. Under normal circumstances, the crystal cannons of the city defense need 100 units of magic energy each time, but the cannons on these airships need 200 units. Their energy conversion is relatively poor, so each attack will consume twice the energy and unleash 40% less power. Fortunately, mobility is their greatest value, making them our most important defense weapon. Noticing that Lorne was interested in the magic cannons, Tully explained in detail. Then, he pointed at the tower and said, "That is a crystal energy protective device. It was specially created to protect the airship from the attacks of long-range artillery. Because it occupies a huge space, only the offensive airships are equipped with a protective device. Ordinary transport airships do not have such defense methods." These were all good stuff. Lorne looked at the equipment on the offensive airships and could not help but sigh. In this magic world that worshipped personal strength, the gnomes had actually created a fighter jet. Cold desolate Dragon City had to have such advanced technology. "Tully, how many gold coins do you need to build a crystal cannon for the city defense?" Lorne could not help but ask. If we only use gold coins, we can't build any crystal cannon. To build a conventional crystal cannon, you need 47 materials, 25 of which can't be bought with gold coins. For example, the most basic star-patterned iron can only be bought by going to a main city with rich minerals. Moreover, you need to obtain the other party's permit. You can also buy it in the Gnome Mineral Company, but unless the two sides are close enough or if there's a chance, under normal circumstances, they will not be sold. Tully did not want to discourage him, but it was inevitable. However, Lorne did not think much of it. Instead, he asked, "Do you have anyone who can create such weapons?" "Yes. To be honest, I started my career by building crystal cannons. Later, for some reason, I transferred to building design. If you only want the crystal cannons and have enough materials, I can quickly let you develop your own city defense weapon." Tully was also very excited. After all, building cannons had always been his dream. "Let's wait first. During this period of time, you guys have to first reconstruct the main city, and I'll think of a way to gather the materials to build the cannons." "Yes, Mr. Tyrant, let's go now." "Yes, let's go." Chapter 238, Reaching the Lake of Death. Under Tully's command, 5 airships left the Gnome Mineral Company. 3 offensive airships provided protection around them, and 2 transport airships each carried 5,000 people as they flew towards the ruins of the war. On the way, Tully asked, "Mr. Tyrant, is our territory in the ruins of the war?" "Yes." Lorne nodded, "Our territory is near the Lake of Death. This is also the main reason why I asked you to refine the purification crystal." "I see. It seems that you are very familiar with the ruins of the war. Otherwise, you would not know so many mineral veins. Unfortunately, we can't bring any equipment out. The construction equipment, the blueprints, and other items are all assets of the company. The only thing that really belongs to us is ourselves." Tully looked at Lorne apologetically, but he did not care. "To me, all of you are the greatest wealth. As for the equipment, I believe we will definitely have it with our combined efforts. In his previous purchase plan, he had bought conventional equipment, which included more mining equipment. After the gnomes were settled, the miners could begin mining the surrounding mineral veins. With this money, Lorne could purchase more sophisticated equipment and the materials needed to build the cannon. Very good, everything went according to plan. Time passed quickly. After a day of flying, the airship team finally arrived at the ruins of the war. When the players saw the scene in the sky, it immediately caused a commotion. Gosh! The Gnomes' Air Force is here. This is larger than the last time. Are they here to sweep through the ruins of the war? Damn, the Gnomes are rich. Did they discover a huge treasure and are going to attack with all their might? Brothers, don't hesitate. Hurry up and catch up. We will definitely earn money. Wait for me, I'll go too. Charge. Let's give it a try. The players in the ruins of the war went crazy. A large group of players ran towards the airship. At the headquarters of the World Destruction Guild, Speck sat on the sofa with a dark expression. A day ago, he had been killed 10 times by that player called Ghost Deity. His level had fallen to below level 10, and he was currently a rookie in the beginner village. Such a depressing experience made him not log into the game for the entire day. The others from the World Destruction Guild were leveling up crazily in the game, but at this moment, Crossfire suddenly went offline. Boss, there seems to be a new situation in the ruins of the war. Crossfire opened the holographic screen and opened a recording. It was the scene of 5 gnome airships passing through the Doomsday Forest. It's just the gnome airships. Speck said expressionlessly, the 5 gnome airships should have discovered a new mine. Get our miners to prepare. After the airship lands, go nearby and find the people from the Gnome Mineral Company. You can obtain mining experience from the gnomes, and your subclass skills will increase quickly. Increase the reward for Tyrant and Ghost Deity on the black market. I want to kill them. Yes, boss. Crossfire nodded. By the way. Speck looked at him and said, has our trade caravan set off? This time, the gnomes have made a huge move. They will definitely attract more players to the ruins of the war. We have to seize this opportunity to snatch the market first and crush all the small players before earning a huge sum. Don't worry, boss. The caravan set off a day ago and moved along the fastest route. They have already arrived at the edge of the ruins of the war. They will probably reach the expeditionary army camp in another 2 to 3 hours. This time, we used 10,000 players to transport the goods. The total amount is as high as 1.5 million gold coins. According to our budget, we only need 2 days to eliminate all the solo players. The remaining large guilds will also be affected. At that time, we can directly occupy 40% of the market share. During this period, the goods worth about 1 million gold coins will not earn money. However, after stabilizing, the remaining 500,000 gold coins worth of goods can bring us a profit of at least 1 million gold coins. Crossfire smiled. This was the war that he needed to make a comeback. As long as he did it well, he could still ensure his position in the corporation and would still be the follower that boss valued the most. Yes. Speck nodded, looked at Crossfire, and said seriously, we have invested as much as $3 billion in this operation. It is the largest project the corporation has in the game. You have to be responsible and nothing can go wrong. I understand, boss. I'll supervise the caravans during this period of time. Lake of Death. This time, there were offensive airships escorting them, so the team flew directly into the map of the Lake of Death. Standing at a height of 1,000 meters, Lorne could see the dark lake in the distance. It was larger than he had expected. It was a boundless lake, like a vast sea. It was no wonder that it could become a neutral force in Iron Skull City. With its huge coverage and the depth of the lake more than 10,000 meters, who knew how many water dwellers there were? If they really fought, it was unlikely that Iron Skull City would win. However, what interested Lorne the most was the appearance of the lake. The Lake of Death was black. Such a color was terrifying even on the ground. Behind the sky, the Lake of Death was like a boundless black hole. It seemed like a huge mouth that could devour the sky. Just looking at it made one's hair stand on end. The gnomes were also very nervous. They pointed at the area and discussed. Tully looked nervously at Lorne as he asked, "Mr. Tyrant, you won't tell me that our territory is in the Lake of Death, right?" "Of course not." Lorne smiled, "Don't worry, Tully. Our territory is only at the edge of the Lake of Death. You don't have to worry that the Lake of Death will attack us, because we are now affiliated with Iron Skull City. If they attack us, it will be equivalent to declaring war on Iron Skull City. Just based on this, we will definitely be safe. Even this powerful and mysterious Lake of Death will become a natural barrier for us. Those forces that want to attack us have to consider the attitude of the Lake of Death. This is a very advantageous situation for us." Chapter 239, Establishing the Territory, Cold Desolate Dragon City. Although there were offensive airships nearby, Tully still did not dare fly above the Lake of Death. He could only slowly move forward at the edge. In the end, after flying northwest for an hour, the airship finally arrived at its destination. On the mountain range below, there was a huge city. Lorne could clearly identify the location of the cold desolate dragon city, but Tully did not know that there was a city that was fused with the mountain. "Mr. Tyrant, are we landing here?" Tully looked down and realized that the mountain range below was strange, but he could not really discover what was happening while standing on the airship. "Wait, I'll go down and turn this area into a guild base." With that, a pair of transparent wings appeared on Lorne's back. Under everyone's gaze, he jumped down and glided with the ability of the wings. Soon, he landed on the ground and in the city of the cold desolate dragon city. Lorne took out the city creation token from his bag and triggered it. Ding! "Would you like to use the city creation token in this region?" Prompt: as the ruins of the war had been cursed by the undead, it is a special area. Establishing a guild base here might affect the development of the guild and might even cause you to be attacked by monsters. Please be careful. Prompt: due to the fact that the ruins of the war are a special area, there is no need to pay any fees to build a territory in this area. Moreover, you can directly take the surrounding land after purification as your territory. A series of notifications appeared. These notifications were identical to the one given by Commander Rhett. It was no wonder that he had reminded Lorne to obtain a regional purification crystal first. It turned out that the size of this territory was directly related to the size of the purification area. Use it. Without hesitation, Lorne confirmed the choice. The next second, a new notification panel appeared in front of him. Ding! Prompt: the area you are in is a city ruins. You can directly set this city as your territory. Do you want to do this? Prompt: the city creation token can directly cleanse the buildings in the city and use the coverage of this building as the center of the territory. Would you like to use it on this city? There was such a thing? Lorne had thought that the city creation token could only cleanse a small building, but he had not expected it to cleanse an entire city. Of course, this was also likely a loophole in the rules of the game. After all, who would have thought that when this player was not even level 30, he could find such a huge city? Lorne immediately chose to use it. In the next second, a light entered cold desolate dragon city. It spread along the city wall and covered the entire cold desolate dragon city hidden in the mountain, completely dispelling the undead power. Ding! Game announcement: successful use. Congratulations on obtaining a city as a guild base. Now, please name your city. Lorne blurted out, Cold Desolate Dragon City. Although the name was given by the dragon, Lorne was very satisfied with it. In any case, it was only a name. He would let this city that had been lost for tens of thousands of years appear in the world in the most primitive manner again. Ding! City named successful. Ding! Congratulations on becoming the first player in the entire server to have a guild territory. You have triggered the entire server announcement. Would you like to announce it now and reveal your name? The successful name panel appeared in front of Lorne. As long as he chose to reveal it, all the players in the world would know that he had built a territory. But Lorne was not in a hurry. He did not choose to announce the news as he wanted to announce it later. The interior of the cold desolate dragon city had not been repaired yet, so there was no need to inform the other players in advance. In any case, the system had already determined that he was the first player to build a main city. Even if other players obtained the city creation token during this period of time, they would not be able to obtain the achievement reward. Looks like the gnome robots have been working efficiently these few days. Lorne arrived at the high tower of the cold desolate dragon city and checked the outside of the dragon city below. He realized that the weeds and rocks in the workshop area had been cleaned up. This was the place that Lorne needed to use now. As long as he cleaned up this place, it would reach his expectations. Then, Lorne flew back into the airship. Tully, it's my territory down there. Lorne smiled. Unbelievable. There's actually such an ancient city in this dangerous region. Tully took a deep breath. Because most of the body of the cold desolate dragon city had fused with the mountain range, its entire appearance could not be seen in the air, so he did not realize that the city below was the ruins of the cold desolate dragon city that he had dreamed of. Tully, we have the territory and the city now, but because the city is ancient, we need people to build it now. It might be tough for you and the others in the coming days. It's okay, my lord. Since we have chosen to join your territory, this will be our home. We'll use our hands to build our own home. No matter how tired we are, it's worth being happy about. Tully said seriously. It could be seen that he had begun to address Lorne as Lord instead of Mr. Tyrant. This meant that he had completely changed his identity consciously and had included himself as part of the cold desolate dragon city. Then, children of the gnomes. Tully shouted through the airship speaker, now that we have left the Gnome Mineral Company and joined a new city, we will welcome a new life here and completely display our talents. Now, everyone, please follow in the footsteps of our Lord to build a new home for us. Under Tully's command, the gnome airship began to descend. Look, the gnome's airship has landed. Why did they land there? That's the map range of the Lake of Death. It's an area with no level restriction. There might even be level 100 bosses there. I really don't dare to go. Strange, why do I feel like they landed in a city? Me too. Report, report, the gnomes have discovered the ruins of the city. There seems to be a hidden mission. When the players saw the landing location of the gnome airship on the distant mountain ridge, they saw the outline of the city of cold desolate dragon city. When this news spread on the forum, it immediately attracted the attention of countless people. The players agreed that this was the most core city fortress in the ruins of the war. Discovering this city meant that they had triggered the greatest event mission in the ruins of the war. Therefore, countless players approached the location of the cold desolate dragon city. Chapter 240, Shocked Gnomes. What? They found the ruins of a city. Looks like another special mission is about to begin. The first city creation token has just appeared recently, which means that the game is about to start the era of guild territories. Now that we have discovered the first ruins of a city, I suspect that a territory competition will appear soon. Immediately inform all online users to approach the Lake of Death. Once anything happens, we will immediately set off to snatch it. Quick! Send people to the target location. Everyone, move immediately. At this moment, all the large guilds were moving nervously. To them, the ruins of such a damaged city were an important resource that had to be fought for. This was because once they obtained the city creation token, they could use this city ruins to quickly develop their own large territory. At that time, they would be ahead of any guild in the world and completely control the greatest share of benefits in the game. In the ruins of the war, in the Doomsday Forest, the beautiful members of the Silver Snow Guild were all working hard to level up in this map, but many of the sisters were not very happy, because their guild leader was thinking about something. She actually did not let them do the potion sales in the ruins of the war, which made many of the sisters' plan to buy bags be put on hold. Guild leader, why don't you let us bring the goods? A priest player could not help but complain. I can't explain it either. Anyway, you can't be wrong to listen to me. Twinkle Rose frowned. It was difficult to explain to her sisters. She could not say that it was Tyrant who had said something and then she would not compete for the hundreds of billions of dollars in the ruins of the war, right? If she really said that, wouldn't it make her seem like a useless woman? As the guild leader, why should she listen to that little brother? She would lose all her prestige if they found out. Yes, it was best to deny it no matter what. As she was thinking this, a sister sent news that the gnomes had discovered the ruins of an ancient city near the Lake of Death. It seemed to be the core fortress of the ruins of the war, which was also the center of the entire battlefield. Hearing this, the eyes of the other sisters lit up. They all wanted to leave immediately. Only Twinkle Rose was stunned, then her eyes widened. Tyrant had once reminded her not to stock up, or else there would be a risk of not being able to sell anything. Moreover, he had finally pointed out the city creation token. At the beginning, she had only vaguely felt that it was dangerous, but now, it seemed that this was not only dangerous, but also a tragic outcome. If the ruins of the city that appeared were the guild base in Tyrant's plan, the Doomsday Forest and even the entire potion market in the ruins of the war would become his alone. Sisters, let's not care about the ruins of that city. Hurry up and farm monsters. We'll reach level 30 by the end of tomorrow. Twinkle Rose made the opposite choice again and sent the information to the guild management group. Immediately, all the sisters of the Silver Snow Guild were confused. Guild leader, what's wrong with you recently? Your thoughts are so abnormal. I don't understand. I'll warm your bed tonight. Can you tell me your thoughts? Sister Twinkle, I'll give you a bath. Please clear my doubts. Sister, I'm completely stunned. Cold Desolate Dragon City. 5 huge airships landed on the square of the cold Desolate Dragon City. Before it descended, Tully felt that the gnome team he had brought would definitely be able to repair the city quickly. Only after it really descended did he realize how ridiculous his idea was. In front of him was an extremely huge square. Even if there were a 1,000-meter-long gnome airship or 5 landing ships, they only occupied a small portion of the square. In the distance, huge buildings made of rocks were hundreds of meters tall. They looked very majestic, causing the gnomes to gasp. Even the ground could make all the gnomes open their mouths. This was unbelievable. It was beyond their imagination. Perhaps the people of other races would not be so shocked when they saw this scene. However, as a race that specialized in building, the gnomes knew how great this building was. Even in the entire world, there was no other building as magnificent as this. Although this building was not as large as Iron Skull City, the materials and overall design used in it were unprecedented. Take the bricks under his feet for example. This city used ancient rocks, and every piece was cut as a whole, nearly 10 meters long. On the other hand, the ground of Iron Skull City was only a 1 meter square green patterned rock. Although the total area was larger, in terms of the construction difficulty and the defense effect, it was much lower than this city. Every piece is an ancient rock. Each piece is 10 meters long and the ground is huge. Don't tell me. Lord, please tell me. Is this that legendary city? Tully looked at Lorne almost crazily, wanting to know the true identity of the city. Take a deep breath first. Lorne was afraid that the gnome elder would not be able to catch his breath and die on the spot. He quickly let him rest for a while, then nodded and said, "Yes, this is the legendary city. Kingdom of the Dragon, this is the kingdom of the dragon. Tully knelt on the ground excitedly and touched the texture of the rocks on the ground. He could not help but tremble. What? This was the kingdom of the dragon. When the other gnomes heard this term, they were first stunned, then excited. Perhaps the descendants of many other races did not know the meaning of the kingdom of the dragon, but the gnomes were different. The gnomes' ancestors had participated in the construction of the kingdom of the dragon, so they had obtained a portion of the construction plan. Coupled with thousands of years of research, they finally obtained wisdom from it. As for the kingdom of the dragon, they regarded it as the most important treasure in this world. They did not expect that after they gritted their teeth and left the Gnome Mineral Company, they would come to this legendary city and really become a citizen of it.